Nihar Patel, the Vice President of Business Strategy at Toyota, US. Welcome to Talking About Innovation, Nihar.
Thank you.
Nihar, your tagline at Toyota is what? Let's go places?
Let's go places.
And certainly Toyota has gone places. Really a remarkable company, particularly in terms of its innovation. How would you explain why Toyota is such a global leader in innovation?
Wow, that's a great question. And I'd say it's a very strong focus on continuing to move towards what we now call smart mobility society. If you go back to focusing on advanced safety, focusing on ecology, focusing on doing things that are good for society but also will help you get more product to consumers, I think that's always been the driving force behind everything that Toyota does. So if you look back at about 15 years ago, people snickered a little bit when a science experiment was launched called Prius, and people said that'll never be successful. Surely nobody's going to buy that. And hybrids started taking off, and we've now done 7 million hybrids globally, to give you a bit of a global flavor. Sold 2.2 million hybrids in North America. So again, that science experiment is a very successful experiment. And moving that forward, we said, what's the next best battery concept? So you have a fuel cell.
But Nihar, let's step back a minute. You know, most people, most of our viewers will often think of car companies as being large, bureaucratic, conservative. The technology now has been around for 100 years. We're in Silicon Valley, you know, where the Googles and the Facebooks of the world are blowing everything up. How is it that Toyota, as a car company, has innovated so successfully? What is it? Is it something in the DNA, in the CEO, in the structure or lack of structure within the company?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with the vision to be delivering some successful things for society. And all of that translates down to everything that happens in our engineering centers, in the way we deliver products through our dealers. If you look at our dealers, there's innovation there in the way vehicles are delivered to people, how we take care of customers. Plus, I think we're very happy to blow things up, like you said, which is, let's not be completely foolish in thinking that you can do all of these things internally. Open yourselves up. Partner with people who you traditionally wouldn't partner with, and bring in some good ideas and be ready to implement those ideas.
So Nihar, big companies can innovate?
Well, big companies have to innovate, otherwise they'll never be big companies.
And do you think we're in San Francisco now at the Atlantic Navigate Tech event? Do you think big companies can help educate Silicon Valley startups to become perhaps more long-term or responsible innovators?
Yeah, I think it works both ways. I think Silicon Valley companies who we've partnered with are helping us be more nimble, cut through bureaucracy, as you mentioned earlier. But I think the other way around, we can teach them the benefits of having better processes in place. How do you create a better talented pool of people who continue staying with you longer term to deliver the goods on a long-term basis? So it's a very symbiotic relationship, the way I look at it.
Nihar, as I told you before the interview, I'm a biased interviewer in this sense. I'm the proud owner of 2 Priuses, one at a time of course, but I have to congratulate you on a remarkable product. What's in the product line though when it comes to the Prius? Is this the kind of product that can go through many different evolutions?
I certainly think so. I think as you look at it from 15 years ago to today, the product has gone through certainly many evolutions, just speaking about the Prius on its own, but it's that technology within it, the battery technology, the efficiencies, taking weight out, taking cost out, so we can continue delivering a $20,000 to $25,000 vehicle to the customers who really are looking for clean technology.
Is that still the stumbling block, batteries, when it comes to enabling people to do longer journeys simply with electric power as opposed to gasoline?
Yeah, I think the one good element of a Prius is that you don't have that stumbling point, but I think on a pure EV basis, we've not reached that crescendo yet where people can feel comfortable that I'm not going to run out of charge. Therefore, we've moved to the better battery concept, which is fuel cells fueled by hydrogen.
I was actually the owner, one of the very few owners of your original RAV4 electric vehicle, which was great, but of course it could only do around 80 or 100 miles. You've got a new RAV4 electric. Is electric still very important in your product line and your vision of the future?
Yeah, totally. Actually, there's a slide that I'll share with you at some point in time in the future, which shows there's a role for hybrids, for plug-ins, for electric vehicles, and fuel cells. And the only comment I'll make on electric is it doesn't have to be your traditional four-door vehicle or your SUV. We have an iRoad product and a sort of an environmentally friendly neighborhood product that we are testing in France right now. They're both zero emissions, both electric products, and they will provide mobility to customers.
Nihar, at the Atlantic event, I think you're demoing a hydrogen vehicle. What's your sense of this? Is this the next big thing, or is it always going to be a niche product?
No, I think for us, we believe this is the next big thing for the next 100 years in terms of hydrogen. It's going to take time to build it.
You have a consumer product that's just coming out, right?
The Mirai, yes. The Mirai is going to come out. It's going to come out next year within the U.S. market. We'll launch it in California, but quickly migrate it to the East Coast as well. And the big issue there has been, let's make sure that we launch it with infrastructure. You need hydrogen fueling stations, and Toyota as a company has invested through third-party sources to keep infrastructure going in California. And we've also partnered with an oil and gas company on the East Coast for them to populate the East Coast with hydrogen infrastructure.
Nihar, self-driving cars, all the rage here. You live in Los Angeles, you know that there are all these Google self-driving cars driving up and down 101 now. Is this something real as well? Could we all be driving self-driving cars or not driving self-driving cars in the next 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, I think you'll have automated vehicles available, so with enough power where you would still have to be the pilot of the vehicle, but the vehicle will help you in every way feasible to not get into a dangerous situation or get you out of a dangerous situation. So it'll help alleviate congestion. And in fact, if you drive a Lexus LS today, that Lexus LS has features within it today that would allow you to be at level 2 automation. Level 3 is where most companies are heading towards, and level 4 is, as you defined it earlier, complete self-driving. It drives yourselves. All automakers are planning for level 2 and level 3 levels of automation because we still believe that it's that pilot, it's the driver who has to have that engagement with the product.
But if we do get to level 4, that changes everything, doesn't it, in terms of the weight of vehicles, gasoline consumption. It does truly turn the industry upside down.
Yeah, I think you don't have to wait until level 4 to get there. I think as these technologies become much more adaptive, much more smart, much more intelligent, you can start taking weight out of cars, you can start taking much more to migrate towards level 4 in terms of your design strategies and things like that. But certainly at level 4, the whole ball game changes quite a bit.
Nihar, in spite of all your innovation, one of the things that disappoints me, not about Toyota, but about most cars, is their failure to really integrate internal digital technology. I have an iPhone, and it's still a pain for me to hook up my iPhone in my Prius. When is all that going to change?
Yeah. Well, I think, sorry to hear about the fact that you have some difficulty with the
But it's not your fault. If anything, I can blame, Apple. I think, and it's true of all cars anyway.
Yeah. I think going to more open sourcing technologies, allowing for companies like Apple to be much more receptive to giving us their phones in advance so we can pre-test them so that when
So they're not giving you the phones?
Sometimes it's very difficult, particularly with Apple. However, other companies are much more open to doing that.
Which in particular?
Any Android-based companies, your Samsungs, I guess even your Google phones, things like that. It's very easy to get phones in advance so we can test them out and make sure that the customer has no inconveniences. We're working through that with that.
So perhaps I should shift to an Android phone. Would that be easier to use than a Prius?
No, I think in the end, I have an Apple phone as well. I love it, and it works very well in my hybrid product range, and I wouldn't want you to make a change for what you like based on 1 or 2 connectivity issues.
Nihar, final question. Cast your mind forward 50 years. Now we've got car companies like Toyota, we've got digital entertainment companies like Google and Apple. In 50 years' time, will the Apples and the Googles and the Toyotas all be one company? Will there still be standalone, excuse the pun, standalone transportation companies?
I think we have to look to see how we connect with our customers. The customers are still going to want transportation or some level of mobility from companies who they believe can deliver that solution the best. And we are planning to be standing alone and making sure that we can continue delivering share of mobility to the customers. If that means partnering with other people who are getting into other businesses to make customers' lives easier, absolutely, we'll partner with anybody out there.
So you'll never be a data company?
Well, I think if you think about a car, which is a mobile technology on wheels right now, it is a data product. And we have to be a data company, and we are a data company. Everything happens with data. We learn to manage the data. We learn to take that data and build better cars.
Nihar Patel, the Vice President of Business Development at Toyota. Real pleasure, real honor to talk to you, and congratulations on a company that, however large its size, seems to continue to successfully innovate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
All right.